Friends, I am glad to welcome you again to the office of the company, Aeronova. It's me again, the naughty Bobanine, and today I am here to summarize some of the results of March. I spent the last week in the company's office to get back into the workflow a bit and to compile a list of news that happened with us over the past month. In this video, I will try to talk with the team, highlight the main news, ask interesting questions, and in this short video, summarize some of the results of the past month. Friends, Shamil is our engineer developer at the company, Aeronova, and he agreed to give some comments on the outcome of our month and share what has been done during this time.
In the last month, we have completed almost 80% of the production part. Here, you can clearly see the stern thruster. Is for NOVA-01? Yes, this is for our unmanned airship, meaning the stern thruster for the unmanned airship is already ready, and we are in the process of discussing it for our large airship, the main one, you could say. For the NOVA-02, this is not the actual model. It's testing the turning technology and evaluating various mechanisms. We are evaluating which is better and more efficient to install, and which elements are more reliable. Covers for the stabilizer fins were also manufactured, and last week our propellers for the unmanned airship were scanned.
Will they be used specifically?
This is our backup option, since the main propeller is already on its way. To avoid waiting, we can test with these propellers.
Shamil, could you tell me, as someone who isn't familiar, what are these points on our blade for?
These points are needed for 3D scanning. When our blade is positioned like this and rotates, the scanner captures it, and these points are necessary for precise alignment, meaning the scanner works layer by layer, and in manual mode, each layer is aligned using these points.
And this is our finished 3D model of the blade, if I understand correctly, right?
Yes, 47 images were taken here, and they are overlaid on each other thanks to these points.
And what was the purpose of creating this 3D model?
This 3D model was made to determine the specifications and characteristics of this blade and to compare them with our requirements.
I see a lot of additional equipment on the tables here. Is this also part of our future airship, the NOVA-01?
Yes, this is our onboard computer. It is responsible for the control system. Here we have the servo motors. Everything is assembled to test our control mechanisms and see how they perform in action.
Could you show us the frame on our first airship? I saw it's in the next room.
The main components are already here, including our main engines and controllers, all routed through pipes. There will also be a box with the onboard computer and control system here. The first flight of the gondola will take place to debug processes.
And after that, we can make any additional changes or adjustments. Are you involved in the future models, like NOVA-02 or NOVA-08? Is any work being done on them?
Yes, NOVA-01 is nearing completion, and we have a launch soon. We are continuing the design work on NOVA-02. We are currently developing the gondola suspension, which is being designed at MAI. And just this week we had a discussion about the NOVA-35 project. The framework for its calculation is being made now.
Is there any model that we could also show or look at, like?
There is a preliminary model. Let's take a look. Well, this is our rigid scheme, and here is depicted one segment. There will be 11 such segments.
So, Shamil, am I correct in understanding that this is one of the rigid type airship segments that will be used in the future on NOVA-35?
Yes, NOVA-35 is a rigid type airship.
Friends, we're back in the printer lab, and Alexander shared with me the news that you have a new printer here, and it seems like this is it, right? How is it different?
This new printer is different because it prints 5 times faster. Yes, we have started printing a fan for NOVA-02 on it, which is for the next airship. So the first one will be NOVA-01, which will be unmanned, 17 meters long. NOVA-02, the next one, is planned to have 2 versions, manned and unmanned. It can already lift a person comfortably. We started printing the first part for the fan, which will be installed on the airship that will also take flight in a year.
The Deem Vasiljevic, of course. We are all eagerly awaiting the launch of our first airship NOVA-01. At what stage is the work currently?
The manufacturing of components is underway. Much has already been done, much can be seen, but these are still separate parts that are lying in different places. Today, we received information the NOVA-01 shell is manufactured, and we are preparing for its testing. So, as soon as we have the shell, we will start assembling it. That means all parts of the airship, the nose reinforcement, the gondola, the stabilizers, the aft thruster, and the units that are placed on the shell will all be installed. They have all been waiting for their moment, for when the shell appears, so we can start assembling the airship. The very first estimates will be made next week, and I think the assembly process of the airship will take another 2 weeks. So, in about 3 weeks, we can already see the airship in its assembled state, and the stage of ground testing. This is when the entire control system will be tested, along with the software developed for this control system, so that we can confidently proceed to the first flight. In parallel, work is progressing very actively on the NOVA-02 airship, a 6-seater, because we plan to assemble it this year and also begin its testing. Simultaneously, we are already looking further into the future, and work has begun on the NOVA-08 airship with 8,000 cubic meters. As we plan, it will be a 19-seater in the manned version, and in the unmanned version, it will have a payload capacity of 2 tons. Work has indeed even begun on the rigid airship NOVA-35. This is 35,000 cubic meters. It will most likely have a payload capacity of about 12 to 15 tons.
I would like to know what work has been done. What was the focus?
The focus was on equipping the gondola with engines, controllers, and a control system. In general, active assembly was underway, and the production of the airship's body was in progress. We were figuring out the areas where we will conduct ground tests. By the way, we sorted that out today. Starting this Friday, tests will begin and will last for a whole week. We were also dealing with the land. We found a suitable airfield that we would like to acquire. We were looking at pneumatic frame structures. We have already made agreements with 2 companies. It's the same product. We'll just see which one is more advantageous. Regarding NOVA-02, for the shell production, besides selecting the equipment, we have already paid for the production of the fabric we need, from which NOVA-02 will be made. For NOVA-35, Vadim Zubkovich initiated the work and proposed his version of the design. We have given the task to the analysts. In 1 to 1.5 months, we will receive the model and take a look. Regarding NOVA-08, we are in the process of adopting the concept. Overall, in March, we launched the stratosphere apparatus again. We proved that we have acquired the necessary skills to weld stratospheric shells for long-duration loitering, and demonstrated. Our altitude maintenance system has certainly worked quite well. The most important thing is a cohesive team that is focused on one task and is gaining experience there. This, one could say, was a valuable launch in terms of experience.
Friends, that's all for now. Let's thank Fyodor for answering our questions. We say thank you and see you next time.